Hey friends, this is Jose, and today I want to continue with my talk on how we hear God's voice. First thing to know is that God is speaking to us 24/7 if you're a Christian. The problem is that we don't know how to recognize the frequency of His voice, and that is what I am here to teach you. The first principle I want to teach you is the principle of Galatians 2:20. I have been crucified with Christ. It is no longer I who live, but Christ lives in me. And the life which I now live in the flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave Himself for me. For the Christian, what happened to Christ happened to the Christian because the Christian is inside of Christ. When Christ was crucified, the Christian was crucified with Him at the same time. When He died, the Christian died. Therefore, if you're dead with Christ, a corpse cannot speak. So there's a high probability that the one that gives you a thought, a picture, a word in your heart is Jesus Christ. Now, obviously, we're not dead in the sense that we've been resurrected to a new life, but really, who we were is dead. And the one that is alive in us is really Jesus Christ. So there's a high probability that the one speaking in your heart is Jesus Christ. I tell people, go with it. If you're wrong, so what? I guarantee you that if you go by that picture or word, you'll hit the voice of the Holy Spirit about at least 8 or 9 out of 10 times. But we had discussed how the Holy Spirit speaks in the heart. And we call it, my wife calls it going by the nudge. And we thought about that. I call it going by what does my gut feeling say. Also, it's intuitive or instinctive knowledge. If you go to a Burger King and there's a little girl wearing a red dress, it only takes a temporary millisecond glance for you to know that she's wearing a red dress. That's intuitive knowledge. Prophecy, the voice of the Spirit speaks by that gut feeling intuition, that picture that suddenly comes, that nudge, that instinct for you to do something. If you learn to just step out and do that, you will learn how to be proficient at the voice of the Holy Spirit. Now, I want to teach you a second way today that I learned from reading the Old Testament in the Hebrew language. I came upon what is called the jussive or jussive grammatical mood of verb. That's in the third person. The jussive describes a command coming out of a strong personal desire or wish in the heart. Desire, motivation, or wish in the heart as a command is the jussive. And there's 9 instances of God utilizing the jussive in the work of creation. Let me give you a few. Genesis 1 and 3. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. The letter is in the jussive. That was the motivation, the desire, and the wish of His heart. Verse 6. And God said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. Let there be a firmament is in the jussive. One final one in verse 9. And God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together, jussive, unto one place, and let the dry land appear, jussive, and it was so. So, God creates by motivation, desire, and wish. So, not only when you get that nudge do you go by it, but when you have a strong wish or a motivation or a desire to do something in your heart, 8 or 9 out of 10 times, it is the wish and desire of the Lord. I just say, step into that wish, step into that motivation, step into that desire. That's how we learn to find out what motivates you when it comes to spiritual gifts. Many people don't know about spiritual gifts. I say, well, what motivates you? That motivation is the jussive. It's the voice of God in the jussive. Now, faith is not something that can be mustered. Sometimes people want to wish for a mansion or a pink Cadillac or whatever. And the way that I say, well, is this desire yours or not, is found in John 3 and 27. John the Baptist answered and said, a man can receive nothing unless it's given to him from heaven. If it's something that when you wish or you desire it, you can receive it. You have peace in your heart. You have confidence. most assuredly that wish or desire is from God. If you have a hard time mustering up that faith and all that you try is not happening, it could very well come from you. So think about these two things today. Think about the gut feeling, intuition, and instinctive knowledge, and think about strong wish, motivation, and desire. God bless you. We'll see you next time.